Peace that surpasses all understanding. um, it's interesting because, uh, hey, I'll just say it: UFOs and aliens. you know, I have memories of watching Star Trek as a kid and going to see Star Wars at the movies. And what is it in Star Wars, the cantina scene where you see all these, it's a cosmic bar on Luke's home planet, and you got all these people hanging out, all these aliens of different backgrounds hanging out. Now, while I haven't had any personal face-to-face encounters with an extraterrestrial, I will say this, and it's not something I ever expected. Um, and I had seen something when I was 17, 18 years old, but I lived near Westover Air Force Base in Chicopee, Massachusetts, and I brushed it off as, it must be some sort of experimental aircraft. And but then in more recent years, it's easy to brush this shit off until you yourself have seen something, and you know damn well it's a completely different experience when it happens to you. I can assure you that. It's amazing though. I posted something recently on Facebook where the defense minister, the retired defense minister of Israel, um, came clean about his experience in government with the alien cover up, as it were, or UFOs or whatever. And he's like, yeah, the guy's 90 years old. He doesn't want to die with this shit on his conscience. And he's like, yeah, there's fucking aliens. And everybody knows about it, and we're keeping it a big secret from you people because we think that you're going to run around and panic. And, I'm reminded of the scene in Independence Day where they're in Los Angeles and they have to tell people not to shoot at the fucking UFOs because you're going to start an interstellar war. You know, individuals are smart, compassionate, benevolent, kind, gracious. But a group of people together, when the mob rules, man, and with all this stuff going on, you guys, man, what I'm getting at is I had an experience today where, I'm like, I'm amazed. Again, once you've had the experience and you've seen some stuff, and I'm not talking about just once, I've had the good fortune, and it's good fortune to have seen numerous times now, and numerous flying anomalies, and it's not fucking SpaceX. Unbelievable. But today, somebody ridiculed me, like, right to my face. And I can understand that. I can understand that. I've been met with ridicule. I've always been a weird kid. When I was a kid, everybody looked at me and scratched their head. And yeah, whatever. It kind of hurt because some of those people were my family, my brothers, sisters, parents, whatever. And now in my adulthood, but the stuff that's going on, you guys, there is going to be some very. I'm reminded of a. I wish I could remember, scripture and verse. I could pull that. When I was younger, I had to study the Bible, and I could quote scripture to you. But there's a quote in the Bible that talks about men's hearts will fail them. People will fucking die because they cannot believe the things that are going on. The sheer terror. ignorance, fear, doubt, insecurity. Men's hearts will fail them. And, and I'm telling you, you guys, put your phone down. Put your phone down if you can. Go out at night on a clear night. Doesn't happen every night, but I'm telling you, these things are not satellites. They're not SpaceX. There are some, and maybe, hey, maybe there are some experimental military aircraft, but this stuff does not fly or behave or respond or anything like any of us have ever seen. A helicopter, an airplane, a jet, a stealth jet, what is it, the Harrier jump jet. I used to live near an Air Force base. I still do. I live near a Navy base and Pease Air Force base now. Well, Pease Trade Port, but I assure you it's still an active military base. From my own personal experience, I had to go do work in one of my jobs. We had to go do work on the military base. Yes, it's a trade port, it's an airport, but there's an active military base. I know what planes look like and all that stuff. These things are not planes, man. They're not satellites. They're not space debris and space junk. Anyway, but it was the thing that spurred this on, or it got me to push the button, was the ridicule I experienced today, and going back again to, until it happens to you, yeah, it's easy to dismiss and make fun of it or be aggressive about it. Somebody saying you're crazy or whatever, and then it happens to you. Men's hearts will fail them. And that's, they're going to be looking up at the skies and going, what the, and everything's going to come crashing down. Amazing stuff, man. I can't define what I saw. I can't say it was definitely this or definitely that, but the things that I've seen so far, and I've seen numerous different things and quantities of things in one shot. Like, whoa, what is going on? And I'm telling you guys, it's an interesting experience once it happens to you. And I have a feeling we're going to, based on my experience with the frequency of these things, these anomalies in the sky, with the frequency, it's happening more and more frequent. And I'm an early riser for work, so on the days that I'm getting up, it's still very dark, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm outside with my dog or going to start my car. It's a clear night, and I look up and I pay attention. Sometimes it's not obvious, and then you look and you go, what is that? It's happening a lot more frequently, you guys. And the stuff you're seeing is just mind-boggling. I don't know. I came on here. I pushed the button, and I did. I had a little chip on my shoulder, being ridiculed earlier. But and this isn't wishing someone karma, but this person who ridiculed me simply has not experienced what many of us, some of us. There's enough people that I know now, like, they're like, oh yeah, there is some freaky shit going on in the skies, you guys. And there's some freaky stuff. Put your phone down, look up in the sky. I'm telling you, it is crazy. But along with that, I'm gonna just throw this one in there. This is like side note, random, outside of the UFO thing, anomalous flying machines. Shit in my area is getting real, as far as the flu stuff and the vaccine stuff. It's getting real, man. It's getting real. And states, I was listening to WCVB in Boston yesterday, and there is now a state mandate in Boston. I'm going to double check it. I want to double check it. But it sure did sound like they've passed a mandate in Massachusetts that there will be. I want to quote this correctly. State mandated enforced vaccinations. That's it. State mandated enforced vaccinations. Long story short, what that means is you can't go to the store. You can't. You can't. You can't get a job. You can't live in that state unless you've had the vaccine. On and on. They rambled off a few other things. Um, you can't go to school. Can't go to college. Can't go out in public places. Now, how are they gonna, whatever? But you can't live in that state. What if you got property? You can't live there. This is stuff going on in Massachusetts. WCVB in Boston. Saw it yesterday, and it's been rolling around in my head. Long story short, as much of a public forum as this is, it rattled my cage yesterday. It rattled my cage. And my employer, even prior to this, said, if you, when the vaccine comes out, if you don't take the vaccine, we reserve the right to let you go, to fire you. And then now this thing down in Boston or Massachusetts, whatever, repeating that, and even going as far as to say you can't go to the store. Does any of this ring? You cannot buy or sell unless you've received something. Is any of that ringing a bell? I would like to believe, and I do believe, that we manifest. We do, collectively. I'm one guy, man. I'm one guy. But when we put our energy together, we can manifest wonderful things, or we can manifest fearful, dark, dense things. I would prefer to manifest some loving, benevolent, reciprocal, equanimous, sustainable, uh, beautiful, paradise-like people living in peace and harmony, and for eons. That's what I'm focusing on. So please stop. If you're all wrapped up in the fear narrative of the pandemic and vaccines and stuff like that, and I appeal to my Christian friends who've you know, and I was one of you. I was one of you. I'm not gonna get the chip in my hand, on your hand or in your forehead. My Christian friends might be familiar with that quote. That's a distraction. You cannot work. You can't go to school. You can't go out in public. You can't live in a state where you've refused the vaccine. Why? 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 There's a lot more going on here than do your own homework, man. I'm telling you, there is something sketchy as going on. But with that being said, I do not acquiesce. When the day comes, no. No is going to be my new favorite word. No. They can hold me down and jab that fucking thing in me, and I'm going to be kicking and screaming the whole way. But the thing is, we have to ask for it. We have to consent. We have to acquiesce. And I don't. I'm not going to. You're not sticking that thing in me. Nope. Anyway, lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff going on in the world. You know, lots of stuff. Going back to the anomalous alien extraterrestrial UFO topic, if you do your research just a little bit of research, this guy here in Israel, he's retired. You know, again, going back to he's retired. He's a retired minister of defense, and Haid Zafir Hafid, I can't, it's something like that. And then in Canada, there's another similar character, the retired Minister of Defense in Canada. His name is Paul Hellyer, Hellyer. Look up his stuff. These two guys, and then you got Buzz Aldrin. Look him up. And look what he says about the space program and his experience with whatever it was, the Apollo missions or whatever, going to the moon. He comes right out and says, well, you know what? We didn't really go. And he alludes to reasons why, but he shuts up pretty quick. These are all guys who don't want to go to their deathbed with this shit on their conscience. Interesting times we're living in, and we can view them. I'm not bringing these things out to create fear. It's to create an awareness that, you know, and yeah, you get angry when you find out you've been lied to, but the truth is always better. The truth will set you free. The truth does set you free. It can be freaky as hell, but it'll set you free. Yesterday, I wasn't in a great space, and I have some very good friends who I could, for lack of a better word, vent to. Day to calm down, let the dust settle, see how I feel today. You know, the truth sets you free, and you can see things with clear eyes and make better decisions for your life. We are divine, infinite beings with a soul. And you know, it's interesting. What's the word I'm looking for? We have this idea of, and I'll go to Shawshank Redemption, the movie, where a prisoner, like that guy Red, Morgan Freeman's character, and he makes reference to I don't know what the hell I would do with myself if I ever got out of here. I'm an institutionalized man. And the reality of his freedom is unfathomable. It's unfathomable. Because he's been in prison. He's been a slave to that prison. That's all he's ever known. And the prospect of his freedom scares the living shit out of him. And as these divine beings in these human vessels, it is my firm belief that our experience has not been so dissimilar to that scene in Shawshank Redemption. And when the gates of your cell open and you walk through that door, it can be a scary, frightening place. But then you suddenly realize you're free. Peace that surpasses all understanding. I love you guys very much. And as always, my email will be in the description box. If you'd like to make any comments in anonymity, I would certainly welcome you to do that. And put your phone down, look up at the skies. I'm telling you, man, there's some freaky stuff going on. I love you guys. Later, I'm out. I got to go back to work, only for an hour or so. Yeah, an hour more. Later, you guys.